Right, there's a lot of, how can I put it, kudos in, especially in Bradford and local area, about the word give chase, make off, pursuit. Let's outrun cops. It's a big thing for people to do, and I don't think people understand the. We'll put it this way: we had so many pursuits for people that just had no insurance, and they'd have no insurance. It'd be a few points, and your vehicle would be seized, and that's it. You'd be done dusted. Some lads just thought, nah, or even some lasses just thought, nah, I've got no insurance and I'm going to make off. So next thing you know, the dangerous drive, pursuit, end up having a collision with somebody, hurting somebody, and they go to prison for 3, 4, 5 years, all over just one pursuit, where it's just as easy to stop. And I just don't understand that thing, that switch that goes in someone's head that says, I'm going to make off now. I've got a highly skilled vehicle and person, driver behind me, which do it day in, day out, thousands of miles a week. You're going to be in your Nissan Micra 1.2 and you're going to outrun them. And you're 17-year-old, you've never had one advanced lesson, you don't know how to drive properly, and you just think you can kick ass at traffic cops, and it just don't work like that. And the amount of shit that it can cause, I'll give you an instance on this then. 2 people in a car just decided to blitz past a beat car. So beat car's going along, I think it was 30 mile an hour limit. And these 2 people in the car thought, yeah, fuck this, let's see what we can do, see if we can outrun this beat car. Just overtook it like an idiot. Beat car put the lights on. A chase started, and within 20 seconds, the bandit car, so to speak, went completely out of control because they couldn't drive, they were intoxicated, and they ended up wrapping themselves around the tree at 100 miles an hour. Now, 100 mile an hour isn't really fast in the terms of pursuit land, but in a 30 mile an hour limit or a 40 mile an hour limit, if you hit a tree, the one thing that's not ever going to move is the tree. You could hit it at 500 miles an hour in a car and it's just not going to move. We were probably half a mile away when pursuit comes in, and they shouted on the radio, just say for instance, I don't know what it was, Bravo Delta 1-2, vehicle failing to stop, X road. Yeah, it's now 60 miles an hour, it's pulling away from us, stand by, and then all of a sudden you heard crash. We arrived at the scene, and the car that we're in, I've never known anything to be so mangled and destroyed over one stupid error of judgment that the driver decided, I'm going to blitz this beat car, all for nothing. 2 people in the car were killed instantly. The engine of the car was thrown roughly, and if you think about engine of a car, I don't know how much it's going to weigh, just say half a tonne. That was thrown nearly 250 metres up the road, due to the force of the impact. The car was literally bent around the tree. So if you can look at it this way, driver's door, inside the driver's door, seat, gearbox and handbrake housing, seat, passenger door, and obviously the door itself, the sills of the car, so all that was down to 2 inch, and the people were still in the car, trapped around the tree at 2 inch, like that. So all the seats were there in 2 inch, all the metal were there, the gearbox, the handbrake, both people all in 2 inch around the tree. That's how badly disfigured they were. We've arrived at the scene, and they've been tried to be worked on by paramedics, and they were dead instantly. They had the driving licences on them. They had no, how can I put it, disfigurements on the face or chest. It was just crush injuries from hitting the tree so hard. They had the driving licence on them, and they physically couldn't be recognised with the driving licence because every single bone in them were just completely not on mush. So it was just skin holding all bones together. They couldn't be identified. We took them, they were extracted from the vehicle, and we took them to BRI, and the one that I had to look after, because you've got to go with them for continuity, the one that I looked after was completely degloved from the waist down, and degloved basically means every single bit of skin is just literally peeled off right down to the feet, so it's just rolled up all the way up to probably the shin, but every single thing from the hip down is just pure muscle. It's just like seeing one of those sculptures of that Robbie Williams video, Rock DJ, when he's in that muscle suit. It's like that, and it was just, I was going to say it's bizarre, it was like beautiful, pure steak meat, muscle, just all there, with fat just all rolled down to ankles. I had to look after this lad, and it's heartbreaking. You just sat with this person, this body, and you're just thinking, there's no, why? Why did you have to now look at your family, look at your friends, look at everything around you, the whole infrastructure of their lives? Everything is ruined because of what you've done. I had to fingerprint him on the fingerprint machine. I fingerprinted him in the resus at casualty where he passed away, and it came back with his photo. We looked at him, and the body that were laid there just made no recollection. Is that right? No recollection? No recognition? It just didn't look like him. It was just completely not like him. And the family had to go through these people died. And then the first thing that happened was the police are to blame. So why are the police to blame? Well, you shouldn't have been pursuing. So think about a world where police don't pursue. So anything can happen. Just walking out road, someone comes and picks your 4-year-old daughter up, puts them in car and drives off. Well, there's a traffic car there. Yeah, sorry, not to me. I'm not allowed to pursue. Daughter's brutally murdered. We're not allowed to pursue. That's just ridiculous. Armed robbery. Look, it's armed robbery there. Got in car, 2 firearms cars there. He's just stole £100 million, jumped in his car's made off. Yeah, we're not allowed to pursue. The not allowed to pursue policy is completely and utter rubbish. The fact of the matter is, no matter where you are in the world, if the police stick behind you, the police put their blue lights on and their sirens on and you make off, everything that happens from that point is down to you. We are there to stop you and to be trained to do that in a safe and controlled manner. You know the police are there, and the highway code and law says if they put the lights on and sirens on, you pull over. If you don't want to pull over, there's no one else to blame for those actions but you, and this is how it goes, unfortunately. That we cannot have a no pursuit policy. When people say, oh, just let these people go, it's too dangerous to pursue, we wouldn't live in a world that just come in and rob you, rape you, murder people, and just get in a car and drive off, and you would have nothing or nowhere, or to go get a pull car from a local gang, do something and drive off, and we'd have nowhere to ever stop them. They'd come past us at 15 miles an hour waving at us and giving us a finger, and we wouldn't be able to stop them. So we say, if you put those lights on and you make off, you are responsible. But then not only that is, the bobby then takes all the weight of the world on the shoulders then, knowing, well, if I didn't put the lights on, if I didn't chase this car wouldn't have done what it did and these people would have died. But you can't live like that. But you do. Back to my rucksack analogy, you put all this in your rucksack and you take it home. If I hadn't been on duty that night, this wouldn't have happened. Well, it would, because they'd have gone past somebody else. Those drivers that make off from police need to understand what they're doing isn't safe, and they are not at a level to be able to do that. They're on a road where they misjudge something and they eat something, they're going to be killed instantly. And again, it's the families' lives, it's the friends' lives, and it's the police officers' lives. Not only they're mentioning that, the ambulance, the fire, the doctors, the nurses, and everyone else that comes to deal with them. If a police officer gets behind you, you stop your car, you don't make off, you don't have to pursue, because it will end like that. And you look through the news, the amount of people that have now hit trees, lost control, rolled the cars, or been killed, and I'm on about the bandit driver or the passengers in the bandit car when it could have been avoided. So my message is just please don't do it. Think about your family, think about your loved ones, think about who's in the vehicle. You've got a duty of care to protect those people in the vehicle, so stop.
Did you see the family's reaction firsthand?
We went with the bodies to the hospital. We conveyed the bodies to the hospital because there's certain procedures you've got to do. But the family were just pure hate for the police. It was the police's fault. No matter that, it was proved in coroner's court. I think the driver were either drunk or on drugs. The speed were too excessive. They knew what they were doing, and it was simple. Like you've been outdriven by the car and the road layout, and you just didn't have the skill to do so, and you've just ended your life. You've ended someone else's life in the car, and then you've just made your family completely and utterly distraught, and it's just not worth it. All for the fact where if they got pulled over, well, they wouldn't have got pulled over because they were behind the police car anyway. But if they got pulled over, all right, and you might get a disqualification for being a bit drunk or having no insurance or no license. Take that on chin, stand up, be a real man, take that on chin, just don't risk your life or anyone else's life. It's just not worth it. I just can't get my head around Mrs. Miggins, because Mrs. Miggins is always about, she's wherever you go, she's always about, it's Mrs. Miggins. But coming all the way with a shopping in car and her grandkids, and then you've got this half-wit coming towards them at 90 miles an hour, losing control of the car. What right do you have to be able to do this to somebody else who doesn't deserve it? If you want to do that, and you want to try and do that, you just think about the actions, think about, and we've all seen it recently, the one in Bradford where it had made off from Willesden, and it wrapped itself around the tree, I think at 120 miles an hour, and every single person died. Then the police started getting looked like it was the police's fault, and it's like, it's not the police's fault. You are the person that sits in that driver's seat, puts that key in the ignition and stops. If our police car got behind me, there's not one part of my mental, physical, or any part of my ethos that will go, right, I'm going to try and outrun this car now, because it's not going to end well. And no matter what, coming from my background and 19 years of advanced driving and high-speed pursuits, I wouldn't even make off, because it just won't happen for me either. I'd probably crash, so just don't do it.
What impact does just seeing the aftermath of something like that have on like yourself?
It's heart-wrenching, because 9 times out of 10 you've got to do CPR. You've got to pick bits up of people, and that is not nice when you're picking bits up. You've got to try and deal with the colleagues who was in the pursuing car. You've got to try and deal with everyone who's in the work scenario around you, because they're worried about you then either being the pursuing car or whatever. And then you've got to go home and you've got to try and deal with the fact of you've been behind something, or you've been dealing with something where someone's been either seriously or killed, and you only go into work to do the best you can do, and you are employed by members of the public to uphold the law and save lives and protect them. And you haven't got 1 malice bone in your body, and you just end up on shitty, and it's, you know what I mean? You just end up suffering all the time. And I just think it's unfair because someone wanted to outrun police, and you know what I mean? And all these people in their RS3s and A45 AMGs and these stupid cars that they've got, Golf Rs, I'm being honest with you, you cannot drive, the car drives you. The car is that high tech and the car is that good, the car is driving you. If you've got a 1.4 Golf match and a Golf R, well, yeah, Golf R's a lot faster, but it's not. The Golf R is driving you. It's all the stability controls, all the electronics, every single thing in the car that makes the car do that. And that car will only get to a certain point before it says, no, I'm not having this anymore. That's when you're going through a fence backwards and into a tree. Just simple factors, just don't do what you can't do.
We've launched the Pearson channel. If you want to help out, please see the link below. Thank you.